Okay, good evening, friends. Welcome to the PANSIGHT webinar. Let me start the slideshow. I assume the slide is visible and I am audible. The topic for today's discussion is how to manage our enemies. Part 2. Okay, now let me make Dr. Surendran as my co-host, and he can
Okay.
turn off here. Just Dr. Surendran. Okay, sir, please mute the microphone of others. Last week, I made a presentation that is how to manage our enemies, part 1. This is part 2. The mission, 4E mission of PANSIGHT, that is my own mission I'm talking about. Entertain. I'll be sharing plenty of real life stories, including my own personal stories. And that'll be interesting and entertaining. Second mission, educate. To educate, I'll be sharing facts, evidence, data to substantiate whatever I share with you, tell you. I'll be showing many proverbs and quotations also. That is to educate. Then, after education, the third E is enlighten. My dear friends, this is a fact many people don't realize. That is, simply getting an information is not knowledge. In many webinars, they tell many things and they share and they know, but information, it won't stick to the memory. It has to be converted into knowledge. That is where, when I ask the questions, when I ask you to interact with me, that will stimulate your thinking. Then only you will be able to understand. Without good understanding, the information that you get will be soon forgotten, will be useless. Last E, empower. Knowledge is power. You must have heard that saying. Knowledge is power. That is an incomplete statement. Many people have knowledge, but very few people, they apply that knowledge. Unapplied, unused knowledge is useless. Purpose of this webinar, know who or what are our enemies, how to identify our enemies. This is very important. My dear friends, these days, in the past also it used to be like that. Now, many people, they pretend to be our friends. They are not real friends. They are fake friends. We have to identify who are genuine friends and who are fake friends. Otherwise, these fake friends, when they betray you, our trust, they gain our trust. Once they gain trust, it is very easy to betray us. And they'll be the worst kind of enemies. Do you agree with this comment? If you agree, in the chat box, put yay, please. Because I want to know whether you are able to understand what I am talking about. Yay, Bindu, yay. Hey, Advocate Vincent, yay. That is it. Because there is no way. This is not a regular classroom. This is a group of people who are coming from different walks of life. There's no way. I won't be able to read your minds. So I won't know. I don't know what you know, what you don't know, whether you agree or whether you disagree. That is why I am requesting you to respond through the chat box. You get it? How to manage our enemies. Once you identify the enemies, then that is when you'll be able to manage the enemies. Without identifying the enemies, you won't be able to. It's plain and simple. Definition of enemy: a person who feels hatred for, nurtures harmful thoughts against, or engages in hostile activities against another. And many people, they think enemy is something like a human being. No, anything that is capable of causing harm, even our thoughts, emotions, they can become our own enemies. Few books: Friends, Lovers, Enemies. Identifying the enemy. Then, how to deal with your enemies. There are two types of enemies: internal, invisible; external, visible. In the previous session, in detail, with ample examples and facts and data, I shared the information that is required to know the inner enemies. Inner enemies are our own negative thoughts, negative attitude, negative emotions, and our wants, everything. They are our enemies. 90% of the enemies are our own inner enemies. Many people don't realize that one. So we need to learn how to manage our inner enemies. Those who could not participate in the last week's session, I have uploaded that video recording in the YouTube. Please watch that one. Tom and Jerry taught me life is incomplete without enemies. Jesus had enemies. Galileo had enemies. Abraham Lincoln had enemies. I don't know how many of you are aware of this popular saying in the USA: no good deed goes unpunished. If you are aware, say yes. Why? If you are not aware, put N. I will explain that one. If you are aware, yes, no. Bindu, no. Jodi Makar, she says yes. Shamili, Pushoma, don't feel bad. First and foremost thing, this is what I always tell. Some people, they feel embarrassed or ashamed, or they think that they'll be, to tell them others, I don't know. I don't know. That is, ignorance is not a sin. You will be able to learn something only if you admit you are ignorant. So, no, Ramendran, no. Okay. Jesus Christ, did he do anything to harm the public or anybody? No. What are his message, everything? Intention, there's no hidden agenda. Good thing. What happened? He was crucified. Then what about the Galileo? Do you know the Galileo? What did he do? That was sometime in 1633. He, with using a telescope which he developed, he validated the Copernican theory that it is the sun. It is not the sun, it is the earth which is revolving around the sun. And he validated with this one. Then what happened? That was against the church belief and the teaching. So they conducted a trial and he was persecuted. He was put under house arrest for the next 9 years. What did he do? He shared a truth as a good deed. Now everybody, we all believe that it is the earth which is revolving. But he was punished. 9 years imprisonment. Abraham Lincoln, what did he do? He abolished that slavery. He abolished slavery and he wanted all the blacks and whites to be treated with equal respect. He was shot dead by John Wilkes Booth because that guy was against this abolition of slavery. He was not willing to treat blacks as equal. So no good deed punished. I have numerous examples more, but for want of time, I am limiting to only 3. Now is it clear? If it is clear, say yes. Have I made myself clear? Now have you understood? Okay, Dr. Ashley Jain, yes. Ravindranath, yes. That is it. And in my own personal life, down the road, I'll be sharing some of my own experience for doing the right things and good things. Here, I was tortured. I had to suffer a lot. I'll share that one. Some of the other people, they already know, who have listened to my previous talks. Good deeds never go unpunished. That is the quote. We know Ravana was Rama's enemy. And Rama had to fight and kill him. So this non-violence, all these preachings about non-violence, that doesn't make any sense, my dear friend. It is not possible. You can chant everything, non-violence, ahimsa, ahimsa, ahimsa. No. No way. And somebody said that, okay, if somebody slaps your cheek on the right side, show the left cheek also. Come on, give me a break. Suppose somebody comes and rapes your daughter, will you give the next daughter also to that guy? Does it make any sense? No. Today, that is 5,000 years ago, Sri Krishna, he killed Kamsa. Kamsa was his own maternal uncle, enemy, inside the family, outside the family. So it is not something you can live without an enemy. Living without an enemy is possible when you are dead. Then you are not living. Okay, do you know, can you recognize the gentleman in white robes? Gentleman wearing the white robe. If no, put no. Okay, Dr. Ashley Jain, no. Govamar, Hippocrates. Jyoti Makkar, no. Sanal Kumar, Socrates. Ramendran, no. Fine. Good. That was Socrates. What happened? He was sentenced to death. And they gave him hemlock. That I'll show you that picture once again. That is that hemlock. He was asked to drink. Why? What did he do? He tried to empower the youth by teaching them how to think. Thinking skills. So when you have good thinking skills, you won't blindly believe anything. You will have a questioning mind. A questioning mind only if you think. If you don't think, you'll blindly accept. You agree? Yeah, yes, 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 yes. Politicians, they survive and thrive by brainwashing the public. How do they brainwash? By telling them lies. That is misinformation and disinformation. That's how they brainwash the people. And if the people know how to think, they will question, they will ask questions. They'll be very hard to brainwash. That is what happened. Because of the Socrates, youngsters, they started questioning the authorities. Those who are in the power. They found it difficult to manage. Then they realized this guy is responsible for. That is empowering them with that skills. Okay, kill him. Now also in India, what is happening? Freebies. People are brainwashed. In America, there are no freebies. There is no free bus ride for the women. There is no pension for the women. In America, the richest country in the world. But there, now they are offering free ride, free bus ride, this one, pension, this one, everything. And where will you find the money after giving all these freebies for the development projects? It won't be possible. It is impossible. But people, are they thinking? Yeah. And give them some 2,000 rupees. Yeah. Vote for the people. They buy votes. They are not thinking. When they are giving 2,000 rupees, they will definitely make that one. It is not coming from their pocket. Corruption. Do you get my point? Do you agree? If you agree, put the Y in the chat box. If you agree. Yes, Dr. Ashi Jain. Yes. Yes, Ramendran. Yes. That is what. If people know how to think, no way. Whatever is happening, especially in India, it won't happen. I'm apolitical. I'm telling just the fact. Life will be very boring and dull if you have no enemies. That is my own thought. Enemies were teachers in disguise. There is a Japanese historical novelist. What it means is, you will be able to learn a lot of lessons from the enemies. They teach you many lessons. Those lessons may be bitter, but they are invaluable. Personally, I was able to learn a lot of lessons from my enemies. I don't know whether some of you have learned any lessons from your enemies. If you have, in the chat box, put Y. I don't know. I had plenty of enemies. Now the number has come down. Yes, Jyoti Akkar, Dr. Ashi Jain. Yes, it is a fact. So when I choose a quotation, I make sure that quotation has got some relevance in the real life. And what did Buddha say? Your worst enemy is your best teacher. That is 2,500 years back. False friends are worse than open enemies. My dear friends, this is one thing we must all remember. Be careful. Be careful. Put them on probation. Any new contact, don't blindly rush to trust them. Observe them. It may take months, sometimes years, to know the real nature. Never judge a book by its cover. The same way, never judge a person based on the appearance. Based on the appearance. Friendship, you have to be very careful. There's no such thing as an insignificant enemy. Again, real life story. What happened to Indira Gandhi? That Operation Blue Star, the Golden Temple was invaded by the army. So suddenly, thousands of Sikhs, they became hostile and angry towards Indira Gandhi. Okay, that's their sacred place. Indira Gandhi had two bodyguards at that time, Satwan Singh and Bian Singh. Both were Sikhs. And she was advised to remove them from that position. She ignored. She thought that it is not a significant threat. These two people are not a significant threat, and we know history. She had to pay a big price. Okay? So, Shamli Mitra, thank you for your input. So that way, no enemy is insignificant. Don't ignore. Better to have 50 enemies outside the house than one inside. Do you want me to explain? If you want me to explain, put why. Then I will explain. Why? Ashish Jain, why? You want me to explain? Anybody else? Jyoti Makar, agree. Yes. Okay, this is what it is. Inside the house, that means family. Suppose the spouses, husband and wife, we have that Roy Ji. He is a family, this one counselor. Their attitude is hostile towards each other. When there is no trust, the foundation for any relationship, especially positive relationship, is mutual trust. There is no mutual trust, then living together is dangerous. And we know these days, husband killing the wife, wife killing the husband. Am I right? Numerous reports. So inside the home, if you have an enemy, that is very dangerous. Outside is safe. You have some control. Living with an enemy? No. What about the children also? So that is where the husband and wife, best solution, divorce. If it is irreconcilable difference, hostility, no way, you cannot fix that one. Children and parents, you cannot divorce the children. But the children, if they turn against you, they are inimical, then life will be a living hell. Your children will be your own enemies. So be careful. And one more thing, if you watch that video recording of last week, then you will know. Most of these external enemies are created because of our internal enemies. Our own attitude, emotions, thoughts, words, deeds. So please watch that video recording. It is a couple of times. Once you are able to control the inner enemies, then most of the time, the external enemies can also be avoided. The antidote for 50 enemies is one friend. In my life, I was able to survive, and I was able to enjoy my life because of a handful of trustworthy friends. They gave me social support, emotional support, and intellectual support and help when I needed. Trustworthy, close friends. If you don't have them, it will be very hard to fight the enemies. And the friendship, trustworthy friendship, you cannot build overnight. It takes months or years. So from my own personal this one, yes, one friend is an antidote. Are you convinced? If you are convinced, say yes. These are the things many people don't even realize that one. Many people don't realize, they are not aware. And they take it for granted. And one fine morning, if you approach somebody for help or support, they won't. They are not going to do that one. Then you may feel upset. Hey, I asked for this help. He ignored me and all those things. So, that is it. And for that, simple way, this I do. Many people, they don't do. That is, I have identified few people, acquaintances. And when I get that vibe from the conversation, this guy, yes, he is dependable, honesty, integrity. Then what do? I interact with that person often, not once in a year or once in a blue moon. And I talk to some people, especially in USA as well as in India, at least 3 or 4 times a week. I make time. I find time. Because friends, good friends are the real assets in life, not the bank balance. Even if you have crores of rupees in the bank, that money won't help you. If you fall sick, you need somebody to take care of you, talk to you. Loneliness, everything. And these days, your children, you cannot depend on your children because most of them, they will be in some other country and they may be busy, their own lifestyle and all those things. Only the friends. Is this point clear? Put why. So take this one seriously. This Sanal Kumar also, he knows. I talk to him at least 2 or 3 times in a month. I haven't met him physically. And Dr. Jayachandran again, I haven't seen him face to face. I call him, talk to him. And I have some other friends. Every day, I talk to that person at least 5 to 10 minutes. In 24 hours. Why should I waste my time in watching some TV program? It is my time. I don't want to waste time watching some TV program. I would rather interact with some friends and share my happiness or my unhappiness. And by doing that one, that bonding is strong. I am talking about everything practical. Many people, they don't talk about all these practical things. Flattery makes friends and the truth makes enemies. During the discussion, if you want to know more, I'll tell you. Because by telling the true, giving the true feedback, I gain some enemies. You buy yourself an enemy when you lend a man money. That also from my experience, I learned it in the hard way. Some of my friends, when they wanted to borrow money from me, I gave them the money. Then what happened? I lost both. I lost the money and that friend. Lend your money to a friend and lose both. And in return, you may gain an enemy also. That person, when he is not able to return your money, repay, he will go around telling some negative things about you, lies. He will try to tarnish your image. I think that Roy G is shaking, is nodding in agreement, right? So that is what will happen. So I learned in the hard way these days. No, I don't lend money. If he is upset or she is upset, they leave, it's fine. Okay. That's all. Take this message seriously. Wealth is both an enemy and a friend. This is what we are seeing now. Especially poor parenting and grandparenting skills. They pamper the children. Whatever the children ask for, want, instant gratification. They try to buy love by giving them all the material things. The children will never realize the hard work you have put to earn that wealth. They will treat you like an ATM. That's all. No bonding. Then when the wants keep on growing, when they want something, when you say no, then suddenly they become enemies. Your wealth has created an enemy. Is this something real? The chat box. Have you seen people? Yes, Anil Kumar. Yes. Rashi Jain. Yes. So my advice is, one, don't pamper the children. Don't indulge in instant gratification. Make sure that you should not neglect or ignore their needs, not their wants. Wants? No. Needs? Yes. And down the road, you will have that relationship as well as the children. And don't give away your wealth when you are alive. Oh, out of love, you give everything, wealth to your children, hoping that they will take care of you. No, I have seen many people, they're suffering because wealth is gone. Now they will see you as a beggar, a liability. They won't even treat you like a father or mother or grandmother or grandfather. They may abandon you. In Kerala, it has happened. It is happening here also. They abandon. They leave their parents or this one in some temple or in the railway station. Am I right? Do you agree? Put A. Because I am telling the unpleasant, harsh, ugly facts. Yes, yes, yes. So take home message. Don't give all the wealth to your children when you are alive. Keep the money under your custody. Some of the most poisonous people come disguised as friends and family. If you have enemies, good. That means you stood up for something. If you don't have any enemies, you have never stood up for anything. Winston Churchill. I will share my own personal story soon. When I stood up for something, oh my goodness, I had to fight against a big army as a one man. If you want to make enemies, change something. Yeah, Article 370, you revoke. Okay, there are plenty of enemies now. Demonetization, enemies. Bus fare, train fare, air fare, petrol, gas, enemies, any change, reservation, everything. Any change will create enemies. Friends come and go, but enemies accumulate. I like this quotation. It is funny, but it is true. Okay? Friends may come and go, but enemies, they won't leave. They will be there forever. Enemies are there forever. Okay? More number of enemies, they can make your life a living hell. America has no permanent friends or enemies, only interest. Henry Kissinger. Do you know who this gentleman is? If you don't know, put N, I will explain. Chat box. Dr. Ashi Jain? No. Thank you, Dr. Ashi Jain. Dr. Jyoti Makar? No. Anybody else? Ravindranath, yes. Because people who are above the age of 60, most of them, they know. Below the age of 60 or below the age of 50, no. This gentleman, he died yesterday at the age of 100. He was 100. He died yesterday. He was the National Security Advisor to President Nixon, and he was just like our External Affairs Minister. He was playing that role, Jaishankar. Very powerful position. This guy with I'm very careful. This guy won the Nobel Peace Prize. It's a joke. And this gentleman, yes, Mohanlal Divagaran Ping Pong Prodi. This gentleman, now China is the world's second largest economy. 50 years back, no. China poverty was poor country. People are eating rats, cockroaches, and everything. Now China is world's second largest economy and is a threat to the global peace and everything. How did this happen? Because of this guy. This guy, in 1972, he took the President Nixon to China. Before that, 71, he went there and he had some kind of a secret meetings and all those things. Till then, there was China and America. Wide divide. Relationship was not at all harmonious, just hostile. Because of these guys, all those manipulation and everything, China became the most favored nation for trade. And we know, became the world's manufacturing hub. Money, everything China. Now America is also worried about China. Everything happened because of this gentleman. At that time also, and he was very hostile towards India. Indira Gandhi. And India is a democratic country all along. He should have tried to have complete relationship and business, everything with India. No. So that is Henry Kissinger. Have you heard the Cobra effect? Cobra effect. If no, put N. If you haven't heard, I'll tell briefly. Shamali Mitra, Cobra effect. Okay. That is what happened. Cobra effect is that you do something and something unintended, unexpected, and a very negative thing happens. So in 1972, opening up to China, Cobra effect. Now, China is a superpower. And China is also challenging America. Is this clear? Cobra effect. Have I made it clear? If it is clear, say yes. Okay. I didn't make up this one. You Google it, you will find that Cobra effect. There's an interesting story also about that Cobra effect. What happened in Delhi long time back when the British ruled. Very interesting story. There was all these snakes menace, Cobra. So the government decided, the British government, okay, if somebody kills a cobra and brings that skin, we'll be given, I'm giving an example, say 10 rupees. 10 rupees, long time back, it's a lot of money. Okay, that is motivation for people to catch and kill cobra. Then what happened? After a few months, they started noticing more number of people bringing more and more cobra skins. They were curious, what is happening? They started having a snake farm because they were growing these snakes, cobra, and kill these cobra and make money. Then what happened? The government immediately stopped that incentive. Then these guys were having all these snake farms. They said, hey, there's no money. Why should I? They released all the snakes. So now the Delhi was flooded with snakes. That is what happened. So that is what Cobra effect. Is it not interesting? So the same way with China. They thought, okay, cheap labor. Cheap labor, they can make more money. They can make more money. Profit, greed. The main motivation was greed. They went there. Now, yes, Cobra effect. Ten enemies cannot do a man the harm that he does to himself. Watch last week's that video recording. Our inner enemies, they do more harm than the outer enemies. When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you. Again, the same thing. African proverb, there are plenty of proverbs. And my dear friends, for your information, some of you are new to this forum today. My favorite hobby, one of my favorite hobbies is reading and collecting quotations and proverbs. I have a personal collection of more than 40,000 quotes and proverbs. Proverbs, yes, packed with wisdom, not knowledge, wisdom. Enemies are created, not born. Here I am going to say certain things. Some of my doctor friends, medical friends are here. They will also agree, I assume. These days, patients, their families, they attack doctors and hospitals. And this year in Kerala, as per the IMA report, Indian Medical Association report, there are more than 130 doctors were attacked in Kerala. Why this is happening? Because of our inner enemies. Doctors, they have plenty of inner enemies they are not aware of. Their attitude, negative attitude, is an inner enemy towards the patients or family members. Negative emotions. They shout at the patients. Their tone and everything. So they don't create some kind of a rapport. The doctors, they fail to display compassion, empathy. The perception, public they perceive, they are only interested in money. And if something goes wrong, then they turn violent. That is when they go and beat the doctors and vandalize the hospital. So that quotation, now do you agree? Enemies are not born. Enemies are created. Is that clear? Do you agree? Enemies are created. Doctors create. They are not realizing. Yes. It's a fact. Ugly fact. And in my case, I learned this one long time back. My dear friends in USA, a doctor who practices, nearly 20% of the doctors within 5 years of that medical practice, they get involved in some lawsuit, litigation. In 10 years, 40%. Most of the time, it is because of their poor bedside manners and their attitude. That is what. Not even one case of litigation against me. That is because I always made sure that is, I never antagonized patients or family members. Okay, now we have to rush through. I'm going to, when we hate our enemies, we are giving them the power over us, power over our sleep, our appetite, our blood pressure, our health, and our happiness. Wise men learn many things from their enemies. The opponents, the opportunity of defeating an enemy is provided by the enemy himself. During the discussion, if you ask me more questions, I'll be able to explain that one. That is your best friend and your worst enemy, your own brain. The ignorant is his own enemy. Now, my dear friends, how do we deal with the enemies? 4 typical responses: fight, face, flight, freeze. Flight, that is passive. Cowards. People don't have the courage. They don't know how to. Then they run away. Flight, they avoid. By avoiding, is not going to go away. Fight, aggressive. Personality. Faith, assertive. The right way, assertive. Assertiveness is a skill. We don't get any training in schools, in colleges. Only less than 10% people, they know how to be assertive. That they learn from the school of life, or from experience, or from reading books. I was not assertive, but I learned that 40 years back by reading many books on self-empowerment, self-education. I am very assertive. Have you seen or read this book, Whole Brain Thinking? If no, yes, yes, why, or no, no, N in the chat box. I want to know. Jyoti Makar, no. Ravindranath, no. Okay. I'm not surprised. Yes. Many people are not even aware of this topic or this book. Please buy a copy. It's only some 300 or 350 pages. Read 10 pages a day. 1 month finished. One reading is not enough. First reading you will know. To understand, you may have to read it 2 or 3 times. Then it becomes a knowledge power. I invested my time and energy in reading this book, Whole Brain Thinking. Then how many of you have done? I am okay, you are okay. If you have read, put Y. If you have not read, put N. Meenakshi Kittappa, Y. Jyoti Makar, no. Okay. Okay, some of you have read. This is also a book, indispensable. These 2 books are a must. Once you read these 2 books 2 or 3 times, that is enough for overcoming or dealing with enemies, inner as well as outer enemies. Learn transactional analysis. Stay in the adult ego state when interacting with hostile people to protect yourself from harm. I always stay in the adult ego state when I have to deal with an enemy at work. Most of the time at work. A common enemy, common danger unites even the bitterest enemies. I'm going to show you some slides. I'm apolitical. I don't belong to any particular party, BJP or Congress or Communist, nothing. But facts are facts. Jawaharlal Nehru, he said, facts are facts, whether you like them or don't like them. We need a common enemy to unite us. Condoleezza Rice was again the ministry? I think it was Clinton, I think. She was the Secretary of the State. We need a common enemy to unite us. That's what is happening now. This is from PBS. This is not from Indian newspaper. Public broadcasting that in USA. An alliance of Indian opposition parties called India forces to take on Modi. Their agenda is Modi ko hatao. They don't want Modi, a common enemy. Common enemy. Because of that, with the different ideologies, they have nothing in common except the common is, yes, he is an enemy, common enemy. That is the only motivation for that alliance. This happened in 1977 also, against Indira Gandhi. All these guys, Morarji Desai, Charan Singh, Raj Narayan, George Fernandez, guys with totally different ideologies. They all joined hands together. Then what happened, we know. Everything fractured. Now also, I think history always teaches the same lesson. This, again, alliance is no common agenda, not for the development growth of the country. I am proud of Rajiv Gandhi. Because of him, the telecom revolution, computerization, everything. He was a visionary. The same way, now Modi is a visionary. If Modi does something stupid or wrong, then I am not going to support Modi. What he is doing, infrastructure development and everything. The country has become the 5th largest economy within 9 years. It didn't happen because of some magic. Okay, the previous 2 talks on YouTube, how to get mental peace, how to break mental prisons. You will find it very useful and insightful. Upcoming talks, how to manage unhappiness next week. Week after next, how to manage disease phobia. So my presentation is over. Now another 7 minutes. We can have discussion which will be recorded. The recording will stop at 9 o'clock sharp. After that one is again, yes, we can continue with our discussion. The recording will be less than 60 minutes. So, now did I meet one question? I told them I entertain, educate, enlighten, and empower. And before I forget that common enemy, I stood up in the hospital where I was working as an advocate for patients and co-workers in the staff meetings. I stood up and I brought to their attention the new protocols, policies which were observed, which were making the work environment, working conditions very, very hostile. When I shared that one, the co-workers, they applauded. Suddenly, I became an enemy number 1 in the management. They ganged up. 70 people. I had to fight against 70 people. In the chain of command, 5 people. Then Professional Standards Board, 20 members. Executive Committee for Medical Staff, another 20 members. Peer Review Committee, 20 members. They tried to frame many allegations, fabricate allegations. I fought, I didn't yield. I filed cases, one after the other, 5 cases. I took them all to the federal court and the judge and jury hearing. I prevailed. I won all the 5 cases. Legal attorney bill was $150,000. That is more than 1 crore and 25 lakhs. I didn't give up. Everything comes from that whole brain thinking skill, and I'm okay, you are okay. That is what it is. Okay, now, Meenakshi Kittappa, why don't you, if you can turn on your video, that'll be fine, and be brief. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's very good session. All the E's are very nice to hear. Apart from that, you are very much aware of the Indian politics and have the good conversation and a good example with the history. When I think I'm 1 year old, 72 and 71 born. Very nice, sir. As far as the feel free to buy the mask, to the doctors. That is, it's very, very, I will say, doctors' good service. They are just like a god to us. We have to respect. As far as doctors' patients, to deal with the patient is completely, they are meeting the same form of care to control certain things. If their mass is not understanding about the cleanliness and awareness of the disease, their own internal emotions attack the doctors. That was like we made a lot of things from change.com. So plenty of application from Assam and Kerala. From the 2 different states, we support the doctors during the COVID. They attack mass attack much because they are not unaware of the real thing about the virus or any other comorbid disease.
Okay, Meenakshi ji. Now, for want of time, now let me give the opportunity for others. and the recording we will stop at 9 o'clock. After that, again, stay around, Meenakshi ji. Then we can ask more questions also. Don't go away. Okay, now, Jyoti ji, if you want to unmute
Yes.
and turn on the video.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to ask that how to remain calm when these external enemies gang up against you, and you remain so calm that you are unaffected by their behavior, and you don't let them lower your value system. Like you maintain they can only the examples you gave, Indira Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, they can kill your body, but they cannot destroy your soul. So
Yes.
not to get affected, not to bother, to with a calm temperament like Buddha, how to attain that state?
Okay, very good question. Now, those two books.
I'm okay.
I must
I'm
have read
okay.
that one long time back, at least 3 or 4 times. Because one reading, no, it's not enough. 2 reading, not enough. 3 reading, again, apply that one every day. And any interaction, I try to stay in that adult ego state. Once you know what is adult ego state, then you will be using only facts, evidence, no emotions. When you use emotions, you may react. Then you will antagonize the other person. And then you will find it difficult to justify whatever you did. Then you will try to rationalize. So staying in the adult ego with the facts and evidence, the 70 people, they found it very difficult to deal with me because I was very, very detached. I never let my emotions come in the way. When they send an email or something like that, my response, I use facts, evidence. I read that one before at least 2 or 3 times. I edit that one before I send that one. Because if you write in a fit of anger or something like that, yes. When I used to write response, I used to think, okay, tomorrow, if the judge reads my email, or if the jury reads my email, I don't want them to think this guy is short-tempered, this guy is immature. Follow me? So my own email will become a weapon against me. So I used to write, then after 1 hour, 2 hours later, I read, again edit, again change the word, the tone, everything. That communication skill, everything, that whole brain thing is definitely. And that transaction analysis that I am okay, you are okay. Then I always believe in this one. Do your best. Hope for the best. Be prepared for the worst. Then you won't lose your sleep. You do your best. Then there are certain things outside your control. What's the point in worrying? So one of my talks was worry syndrome. Watch that on the YouTube. So that's my answer. Now I'm going to stop the recording. Then don't go away. Then we'll continue the discussion. Doesn't matter. 30 minutes, 1 hour, doesn't matter. Because I take this, whatever this one I'm doing, my mission seriously. I'm doing this because I get immense satisfaction when I'm able to help others. And others also get satisfaction when they are able to get some knowledge, practical knowledge. I don't do any meditation. I don't chant any mantra. I don't believe in this. This is my personal wisdom. The positive affirmation is not going to fix your problems. If you have some problems, just simply chanting Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti is not going to do wonders. You have to deal with that one. So let me stop the recording and thank you for active participation and thank you for sharing your time. See you again in the next week.